I hope you're having a fantastic day. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing Things We Lost to the Water by Eric Nguyen. Things We Lost to the Water is about a mother and her two children who had fled Vietnam to New Orleans in hopes to escape the Communist War. But during their escape, their father, the two sons' father, and the mother's husband get stuck behind. And this book is all about the mother and her two children trying to build a life in America in a foreign country that speaks a language that they don't fully or that they don't understand at all and find their identity. That's what this book is about, and I think it's a quite beautiful book. I do have some issues with it, but before I get started, I just want to say that I respect this author a lot for what he did and what he was trying to do. This is a really good debut book. If my debut book was this book, I'd be very proud, and I definitely think this author has a lot going for him. So, things that I liked about this book. I think the characters are really good, which makes sense because this book takes place over a long period of time. One of the boys is like a young boy. He's like 6 maybe. I forget exactly, but he's a young boy, and by the end he's an adult. The young baby, the other son, is by the end he's a young adult about the age of someone who just got out of college, maybe like 4 or 5 years after high school, about that age. So it kind of gives you an idea of the time span. It's a very large time span, not a very big book. So that's why I think I'm allowed to like these characters so much. Also, I think they're well written characters. I don't want to say they're relatable because I've lived in America my whole life. My only relation to this is that my grandmother was an immigrant from Indonesia and then also from um, Holland. So she lived in those two places before she came to America. So I've heard some stories, but my point is that even though I couldn't directly relate to their experience, I still found the characters relatable. Like I still found them relatable as someone who lives in California in a different time in a different situation. So good job writing the characters. I think they're really good. They're interesting. They have very deep personalities, especially Ben, who starts off as Ben, but he later changes his name to Ben. I think he has the best part of the story, and this is where I'll mention that this has about three perspectives, and I think there might be one more. No, it's three. It's Huang and her two children, Tuan and Ben. So it switches perspectives between the three of them throughout the book. You get all three of their stories in one book. It's not one of them is more of the main character than the other. They all have really interesting stories. Kwong especially surprised me because I kind of hated her when I was in the other perspectives, but then when I was in her perspective, I I understood. I understood why she did the things she did, and I also understood why the other son and the other sons sometimes looked at her certain ways. So it was really interesting. I think they're great characters, and they display the message of this book well, which is my next point. I really liked the way the author talked about this message. He's very passionate about it, but also in a way that I think other people can understand. It's hard. I I can't even begin to fully like grasp how difficult it would be to go to a country that doesn't speak your language and you don't speak that country's language and try to just make a life there. And also having just not lost your husband, but not like as in death, but lost him, as in you don't know where he is. That'd be really, really difficult. And I, I don't want to say I fully understand that from this book, but I really get a good idea of how difficult that is, how difficult it is to make friends, even though there are other Vietnamese people here. It's just It's not an easy thing to do, and that book displays it very well. And the main thing here is, I think, is finding that identity, because what you see yourself as is very important, I think. So, one character, the mother, has spent most of her life in Vietnam. So, she sees herself as mostly Vietnamese, I'll say. Then the one son has pretty much grown up in Vietnam and then finished his growing up in America. So he has like a split, he's kind of tied. And for the youngest son, Vietnam is like a ghost to him. It's like this thing that's always there, but he can't fully understand why it's there, because he, as far as he knows, or as far back as he remembers, he's been in America. So he kind of sees himself as an American in a sense. So I think that's the really interesting thing about the themes in this book, and I really like the way it was executed. I it got to me. I felt it. Now I'm going to talk about something that was just kind of iffy to me. And that's the writing. I think the author's he's a good writer. It's just sometimes I I wished that there was more descriptions. And that's completely subjective. Maybe you don't want more descriptions at all. Maybe you don't care about that. Before I go on, I just want to stop and ask you to subscribe. I'm putting on all this effort to make this video for you and for myself, of course, but that doesn't matter. Just go leave a like, subscribe, maybe give me some constructive criticism. I'm open to it. Tell me something you liked. Tell me if you read this book. If you could go do that, that would be amazing. I have a lot of great content coming this year. If you do that, I will give you the whole $5 that's in my wallet. I'm not going to grab it because it's over there. But I will. I'll give you the $5 that's in my wallet. I totally will. Totally not just saying that. So yeah, go subscribe, leave a like, comment, share. If you just like, that'd be awesome. At least just like. Back to what I was saying about the writing. I wish that there was more descriptions of like New Orleans and the town, because after reading this book, really don't have a picture of New Orleans. I have some idea, but not the way that I had a picture of Moscow when I read A Gentleman in Moscow. I have a super vivid image of Moscow. It might not even be completely 100% accurate. It feels accurate. But the point is I think the problem is that it's kind of expecting this to sort of feel like a historical fiction. But even then, I think there still could have been just even a little bit more detail explained, a little bit more description of the city, of the places they were, just everywhere. Just a tiny bit more description, I think would have been nice. Otherwise, I think the writing's good. I don't have a problem with it other than that. The pacing's good, the the flow is good, the diction is good. There's some parts of the book that I'm like, "Oh, that's really nice. I really like that analogy," or the other stuff that's used. I can't even think of what the word. The other um I don't want to say tools. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Now, to the part that I kind of have the most mixed feelings about is the plot. Sometimes the plot in this book feels a little slow, but that's not really my problem. I'm okay with slow plot. I read A Gentleman in Moscow. That has a pretty slow moving plot. Nothing wrong. Sorry, nothing wrong there. More my problem is the end, and I kind of have to be careful. I don't want to spoil it. But it feels like there's so much that's trying to happen in the end, and I feel like I wish that would have started earlier, if that makes sense. I'm not necessarily saying the book should be that much longer. Maybe it could be, but I feel like I wanted it to start earlier and not make it feel like a last minute thing. It's not even that it's rushed, it's just that I guess it is kind of rushed towards the end. I don't know. It's not that. See, this is I'm kind of mixed on it, because I just wouldn't say it's rushed. It just feels like it should have happened earlier in the story, if that makes sense. And again, completely subjective, totally just how I feel about it. Doesn't really, I mean, you might not care about that at all. You might prefer that. I don't know. That's just how I feel. There's just some things that feel off about the plot, and I can't quite give a name to it. I can't quite perfectly pinpoint what it is, but something just kind of feels off about the plot. Maybe it's just because I don't like that it's stretched over such a long period of time. Although I like The Gentleman in Moscow, so I don't really think it's that. Maybe it's just the way it was stretched over a long period of time. I don't know. Maybe I wanted more time during the ending and less time during the beginning. Something like that just feels off. But otherwise, I think this is a good book. I'm not going to go out of my way to recommend it all the time, but I think it's good. I enjoyed reading it. I'm glad I read it. So, yeah, go check it out if you're interested. Thank you for watching. Remember, subscribe. Really means a lot. I spend a lot of time on these videos. So, it's not that hard. Please, please. Yeah, I'm spending my time doing this. Anyway, please just subscribe. And go check out my book, The Cards That Are Dealt. You can see it posted there. You can see the book here. Go check it out. It's about a secret gambling club in a high school. It's pretty cool, I think. The link will be in the description. You can buy it as an ebook or a paperback. Either way, thank you for watching. I hope you have a glorious day. And yeah.